we're going to celebrate Shavuot. Shavuot is a yontif that relates to Nesinas HaTorah, receiving wisdom, receiving a revelation from beyond. To receive a revelation from beyond is to reveal what was already true before. The relationship between the Creator and creation is a certain way because this is how life was created. This is why life was created. There's a reality to it. This reality is not known. Each individual has their own guess about the nature of this relationship and what the different possibilities, the different status that this relationship can be in. But by Matan Torah, something gets revealed to humanity about the nature of this relationship. The Ramban says, "V'hoyu eineinu v'libeinu sham kol hayomim." Our eyes and our hearts should be there all our days. There, Har Sinai, the place of the revelation, the time of the revelation. Because this is the context of our lives. Whatever was revealed over there is what we want to, what we're trying to align with. So that when we leave our bodies, when we face reality, we will realize that we did something meaningful with our existence. Something meaningful not to us while we're in the body, but to us when we're outside the body, to the source of us, to the source of all sources. Something meaningful because it's real. Because the one who made this cares about that. Whatever we gave ourselves to, whatever we made important. So that day, that revelation is the defining factor of what's real and what's not real. But that level of reality didn't remain available for long. That level of reality was removed pretty soon after. And then, in the new reality, Klal Yisrael was exposed to punishment, to suffering, to sometimes yes and sometimes no, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But when they perceived reality the way that it really is, there was no conditionality to it. There was no sometimes. The relationship was clear. It was defined. It was so safe that it couldn't be violated. That's why they received freedom. Freedom means that they understand that the relationship that they have with the Creator is related to who they are. It's not related to what they do. Just like the relationship with a parent. Just like the relationship we have with nature. The relationship we have with the environment. It's all unconditional. If somebody was to misbehave, he still gets to breathe the air just the same. The air is not going to stop itself from entering his nostrils just because he misbehaves. He has access to the air because of who he is. He's a human being on planet Earth. he has access to the air. He has a mother. He has a father. He also has a creator. All of them unconditional. Unconditional because of the nature of how things are. But the realization, the experience of this unconditionality is not available to everyone, even in families. Even when the relationship is unconditional, the awareness of the relationship being unconditional is not always there. And so the awareness of humanity to understand the unconditional nature of their relationship with their source is not always there. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's real, sometimes it's available, and sometimes it's in exile. Sometimes it's forgotten. Sometimes it seems that it's not real. And so these two ways of perceiving the relationship, whether it's dependent on who you are or it's dependent on what you do, these are the two different sides of reality. The right side, the side of kindness, and the left side, the side of judgment. The side of kindness says you get what you get because of who you are. The side of judgment says you get what you get because of what you do. And so the Torah comes to reveal the true nature of this relationship. What is the nature of this relationship? How does it really work? What is the truth? And the truth depends on how we interpret reality. The truth gets decided by each spirit. Each spirit has their own relationship with reality. What is it based on? Whatever the spirit decides. How does the spirit decide? Because it's constantly interacting with reality. It's interacting with other people. It's interacting with itself. So whatever attributes it chooses to dress in, those are the attributes of the relationship. The source is available for all kinds of relationships. Everybody has their own relationship. Their relationship is based on their interpretations of the attributes. How do they interact with reality? How do they interact with self? How do they interact with other? Those are the attributes that source is using to measure for that spirit. And so the time of revelation, Klal Yisrael realizes that it's up to them. They can manage the relationship as they see fit, based on the attributes that they use to interact with life. Life will in turn interact with them. And so now they're free. They can create whatever reality they desire. They understand that as long as they are not causing conflict, then from beyond there won't be conflict. The beyond wasn't designed to cause conflict. The beyond is supporting humanity. The beyond is the reason why humanity works. the judgment within humanity, the interpretations of humanity, are the reason why some things don't work. The conflicts cause the suffering. The conflicts are created from within. The conflicts are created within the awareness, within the consciousness of man. And so the revelation reveals that it's up to man to decide how reality is going to treat him. And this is the first commandment, the introduction of the revelation. Anochi Hashem Elokecha says, I, the one that lives in all things, I'm designing, I'm directing, I'm causing everything to happen. And so nothing is a mistake, nothing is happening by chance. And I interact with everything based on how they interact with me. I have no specific interpretation of what needs to happen. The interpretation happens on the level of the recipient. The one who is receiving my light, he is the one who is also constricting my light. And to how much does it get constricted? That all depends on the recipient. What do they believe? What do they understand? What does it mean to them? Everyone, according to their vessel, they interpret existence. They interpret reality. They interpret life. Not because they know, not because there's a reality based on that, but because their nature is expressing itself through those beliefs, through those interpretations. That becomes the reality that they experience. And therefore, don't worship any images. Don't worship anything else. Don't worship anything that doesn't exist. Don't worship a past that doesn't exist. Don't worship a future that might not exist. Because the one who lives in reality wants your full attention. Reality was designed to have your full attention. And so the revelation is to reveal what's always there, to reveal what's always true, but only those people got to see it. It's not less true now for us. It's not less true for anyone that exists on this planet. But those people got to see it. Those people got to experience it directly. And that meant that they knew how to direct themselves in order to align with that reality, to align with that truth. And so the revelation of wisdom is a taste of the revelation at Sinai. When someone hears something and suddenly they see reality as if for the first time, they suddenly realize something about what was always real that they never saw before. That's a taste of Kabbalah Satorah. That's a taste of realizing the truth. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, the way that they received it at Matan Torah, is the truth that eliminates all other illusions. It eliminates all other possibilities and potentials. And for all of us, we still have a lot of those illusions active within our perception. But even just a little taste, even just a little discovery that removes some of the illusion, that allows us to see what's there with more clarity, that's a taste, that's a little access to the light of that day, to the light of that experience that changed the face of humanity forever. Humanity is not the same. You can't find the humans that were there prior to this event on this planet any longer, because the minds and the hearts have been reprogrammed by this message. And it had different effects on different people, different understandings, different interpretations, and later even different religions, all based on this event. And this event begins a line of prophets that kept on redirecting humanity towards the truth until the truth was completely hidden, completely wiped away from the face of the planet because of those who wanted power, who wanted to have it their way, even if it's not the right way. Who didn't care about the truth, didn't care about the collective, but were only concerned for their immediate goals, for their perceptions of what's important. And so this message lives on, and we get to participate in this message by searching for what's real. This message is about reality being worthwhile, about how important and how meaningful and consequential it is to discover everything we can about the reality that we're experiencing. Because this is our task. Until we're going to know how to do this better, it's on each one of us to try to discover how to do this right and how it works and what to go towards and what to stay away from, so that we can try to align with whatever is real. And that's the purpose of the Torah. The Torah is here to guide us towards reality, to force us to accept reality. This is the difference between our nation and the other nations, is that our nation was forced to accept reality, forced by the threat of severe suffering. And it's not just a threat, it's a threat that became a reality. We paid with extreme suffering, thousands of years of suffering. We can't even imagine what that means. This was an exchange for accepting this challenge, accepting this mission of bringing light to this world, of bringing light to our species that has lost its way, that has managed to convince itself that it is many things that it is not. It has managed to convince itself that it is okay to behave in certain ways and to interact between individuals or between nations in certain ways that in reality are not acceptable, are not rational, are not sane. And so this revelation of wisdom is ingrained in humanity, ingrained in the collective consciousness, and it will result in a realization, it will result in the desired effect, because always the divine message doesn't miss. The divine message hits the target perfectly. And so if the purpose of this message is to bring peace on this planet, then that's exactly what it's going to do, regardless of how it seems to us in the process. And so when we celebrate, we're celebrating the fact that we know that there is a truth, there is a reality that was known, that is knowable to the human mind, that brings peace to the human soul. And this peace is not simply to not have to worry. This peace is a tangible peace. It's a peace of active enjoyment. It's a peace that allows the body to fully participate in the present reality. And so this celebration is a celebration of access to life, recognizing that life has a way. It has a meaning that can be known to us. Not in the sense that we can understand who we are and why we were created, but in the sense that we can understand what we're doing and how it's affecting us and how it's affecting those around us and how it's affecting our future. To understand the real nature of how we operate. This is how we were intended to be. This should have been our natural awareness. It's only because we get distracted from a very young age that we lose sight of the basic functions of who we are and how we are. And so, by connecting to this wisdom, by rejoicing with the fact that we have access to it, we allow it to penetrate us more deeply. We allow ourselves to become more available to its message. We allow it to become more real to us. And this allows us to enter that reality. This allows us to rewrite whatever understandings we might have from reality that might indicate that it's chaotic, that it doesn't have a proper order, that there's no way of getting it right. The more we connect to the wisdom, the more we celebrate the wisdom, the more we experience life from that perspective. We realize the depth of complexity, but nevertheless, somehow, all this does come together, all this does work together to create a unified whole. And the one who designed the complexity knows the complexity, understands it, understands how it operates. And that's good enough for us, because it's the same one that designed us. So everything we have is that. Everything we have is Him. That's the only thing there is. That's the only designer available. So this allows us to surrender to reality, which is the goal. The goal is that we can align and unite with what already is. Any revelation can only reveal what already is. Anything that we can ever understand or realize will only bring us closer to what already is. And so, for us, the goal is not to look back to a date thousands of years ago. For us, the goal is to see today, what does that message mean for me today? What does that message mean for me now? What is it saying about me? What does it mean to how I'm supposed to interact with the world? Because the wisdom is here to serve you. The wisdom created you. The wisdom is you, and you are that. And so the goal of every message is to bring you back to realizing your situation, to realizing what is happening inside of you and what are you doing with it. What are you creating out of the power that was given to you? So may we all have a happy, safe, and joyous holiday. May we all celebrate the wisdom and find the revelation that is right for us. And may we all collectively, as a nation, and humanity as a whole realize the final revelation that will wake us up to the truth that's already here, but yet we cannot see it. So may we wake up soon.